This video will discuss information on how to set up the hardware for your NSF take-home kit. Shown here is the kit itself. On one side, you only have to be concerned with the three right objects. This silver port here is for the USB cable. This square is for the red LED, which we'll talk about later. And this circular hole is for the power supply. On the opposite side, there are 4 ports, one a 4-pin, a 2-pin, a 5-pin, and then a 3-pin. So first things first, we'll install the power supply. The power supply will have one end that you're going to plug into the wall, and then another end which you're going to plug into that circular hole that I just showed. Installing this will look something like this. You have the circular hole there, here's the end of the power supply, and just plugs right in. Next, we'll hook up the USB cable. USB cable has 2 sides. One is a smaller side that will go into the kit itself, and the other end is bigger, and that's going to plug into the side of your computer. So, installing the smaller side into the kit will look like this. You have that silver hole, and then you're going to install it just like that. It will only fit one way, so make sure that you look at it before you try to plug it in. After this, there are 3 basic setups that we can install. The first is with the DC motor. This right here is the motor, and then on the very end is this 4-pin connector shown here. Now be careful when installing this because the 4-pin connector needs to be installed with that little lump on the very top. So orientate that with it pointing up, and then we're going to plug it in all the way to the left on the board. So aboard this 4-pin connector, we're going to take our little connector here, point it with that hump up, and then it just plugs right in. And that's all that's needed to install the motor. Another setup that can be installed is this heater fan combo here. First, here's just the fan itself. The fan is just mounted to this little clear mounting plate, and it has only one connector. As you can see, it's a 2-pin connector, and it also, similar to the motor, has that little lump on the top of it. We're going to plug this in to the 2-pin connector, again with that lump pointing on the very top of it. So this is the second one from the left, and it plugs in just like that. Next, there's the copper block with the heater on the bottom. In case your temperature sensor came out, it's just installed into the little hole on the side of the copper block. Just push it until it goes all the way in, and it's good to go. So with this, there's 2 different connectors. One's a 2-pin connector, and this is for the heater, and then the other one's a 3-pin connector, and it's for the temperature sensor. So we're going to install these as so. Now, the heater has a connector that's not really, you can't really notice any difference, except there's 2 little holes on the top, because usually we cut off the little connector, or the little hump in the middle. So there's 2 holes on the top, and we're going to keep those holes pointing upwards. And now we're going to put them furthest to the left on the side of the board. So right here, we're going to install it into this 4-pin connector with those 2 holes pointing upwards all the way to the left. So it will look like this. Next, we can install the connector for the temperature sensor. Again, in case there's any hump missing on these, you're going to install it with these little holes pointing upwards. These little shiny holes right there. This installs all the way to the right of the board, like so. So when you're all set up, it should look like this. You have the heater all the way to the left. Next you have the fan hooked up to the 2-pin connector, and then all the way to the right you have the temperature sensor in the 3-pin connector. And when all said and done, after you have it all plugged in, the copper block with the temperature, or with the heater on the bottom, sits in the assembly like so, with the heater on the very bottom, and it just fits nice snug right in that little slot right there. Finally, there's also a setup for a accelerometer, or a cantilever beam. This sensor is the accelerometer itself, and it has a 3-pin connector just like the temperature sensor. Just like all the other ones, if there's a hump missing, this is always the first thing to look for. Put this up, or you can look for the holes and put those up as well. This installs all the way to the right on the board in that same 3-pin connector that we used for the temperature sensor, like this. Once you have that hooked up to the kit, you then want to install it onto this long beam that we're going to simulate a cantilever beam with double-sided tape on one end. You're going to press down the accelerometer so that the cables are coming off away from the beam itself and past these little solder marks right there, because those will make it so it doesn't sit flat. You want to press it nice and firmly in, and then just make sure that it's seated nicely onto your double-sided tape. On the other side, you're going to attach the beam with the supplied C-clamp, and you're going to clamp it onto anything, like the side of a desk or the side of a shelf, whatever you can come up with. And then once you have it all set up, you're going to twang it right as you press start on the experiment. And this concludes how to set up all the hardware for your NSF take-home kit. Thank you.